I think it's a natural development of the original 19th century constitution. It's an attempt to take the principles of that constitution and apply them in 21st century idiom, which of course has to be democracy.
Is this something that you particularly support?
Yes, I've always wanted to do this for the country, and it's a very practical idea in that our political life has to travel at the same speed, at the same level as the development of our economic life.
Is Tonga ready for this kind of more representative system, do you think?
I believe so, because for the past 150 years we've had very democratic institutions, namely the churches, like the Christian church in Western Europe, even during the Middle Ages. These are probably the only truly democratic institutions which have existed in the country. For example, church affairs are discussed freely by the members who elect their officials and bishops and presidents, and it's one of the institutions in Tonga where a person of relatively humble beginnings can rise to a position of great power and influence by his own talents, without aristocratic patronage.
What happens to your role as monarch under this new system? Are your powers diminished or decreased or simply changed?
Officially, the sovereign's powers remain unchanged. Because we are a monarchy, we have a unity of power as opposed to a separation of power. The difference in future is that I shall not be able to exercise any of my powers at will, that all the sovereign's powers must be exercised solely on the advice of the Prime Minister in most things, and in judicial matters, the law lords who advise exercise of power. In that case, I suppose we are different from other nominal monarchies which retain the trappings of monarchy but actually govern themselves as republics.
Historically, kings have resisted diminution of their powers. Why do you think this is the way to go?
Well, like others of my generation, my education has generally been a liberal European education, and I feel sure that without a European education, with a solely Tongan education, I don't believe I would have been able to make these changes.
The events of 2006, when a pro-democracy rally got out of hand and there was rioting and burning and looting and much of the central business district of Nuku'alofa was destroyed, what role did that event play in getting this kind of political change? Did it speed things up, or was this change going to happen now anyway?
There were changes. I think the changes would have happened anyway, but what the riots did for me, it vindicated my belief in the system's approach to change, which was compartmentalizing each stage of the revolution and putting each stage under the charge or tutelage of different groups in society and in government.
After seeing the destruction of what's called 1611 here, did you feel under more pressure to move towards this change?
I didn't feel under pressure from below, but the pressure I felt was the pressure not to change, which was exerted on me from my own class in society.
What form did that pressure take?
People expressed to me their views, my fellow nobility expressed to me their views, that perhaps Tonga was better off as it was before. Under the old system, well, I had a very simple answer to that, and that was, you can't expect to keep repeating the same mistakes and expect a different result, because that would be totally unreasonable.
Tonga is a very traditional kind of a system, and the role of the monarch is very, very important in society. Will this political change lead to a change in the relationship between you and the Tongan people?
I don't believe so. The relationship between the monarchy in Tonga and the people is one of blood, and indeed with the nobility as well, in that every Tongan, there's a Tongan phrase that literally means every Tongan has a road to the palace, which means that if you go back far enough in your ancestry, you can find that you're related to this nobleman or that one, or even to the king. In the past, the basis for this relationship has been one relative speaking to another. That's how they felt about it.
Is this new system ideal as it is, or do you think there might be some more change further down the road?
Well, what we've done is that we've given it our best shot and said this is a model that we've come up with. That's the present government and I. But I hope that in the future, if the government or the parliament find that what we've put up or what we propose is inadequate in any way, they'll feel free to make the necessary adjustments. You know, it's not an unchangeable thing. I think our constitution should be kept alive with minor changes and adjustments to suit life as the country progresses.